Hey there. Okay, let's dive right into this strategic decision tree and demystify the somewhat complex B2B equipment financing landscape that is totally unique to Quebec. You see, if you're a business owner operating in the province, acquiring new machinery or tech, well, it's never just a simple purchase. It is a multi-layered, highly strategic decision, heavily influenced by local legal frameworks, tax incentives, and some really specific provincial funding options. Today, we're going to break down this entire landscape step by step in this explainer, using the source data to help guide you through the absolute best paths for your business. So here's our roadmap for today. 1. Lease or buy your equipment. 2. Legal risks and tax impacts. 3. Navigating Quebec's language laws. 4. Maximizing the C3I tax credit. And finally, number 5. Tapping into provincial funding. Let's get into it. Starting off with Section 1, lease or buy your equipment. So the whole thing really starts with this one crucial dilemma. And honestly, it heavily impacts the cash flow of over 60% of Quebec SMEs. According to the data, a lot of businesses drastically underestimate just how much this single decision shapes their operational flexibility and, well, their long-term profitability. It isn't just about what you prefer. It's literally about matching your financing to your business's current growth stage and your tolerance for risk. Now, the core trade-offs here are pretty stark. On one hand, leasing offers incredibly rapid operational flexibility with a low or sometimes even zero initial capital requirement. That is fantastic for preserving your cash during seasonal dips or if you're a rapidly growing company. Buying, on the other hand, means you're putting down a larger initial chunk of change, typically 10 to 20%, but you're building long-term equity and actual asset ownership. The real secret? You've got to focus on the total cost of ownership. Sometimes the option with the higher monthly payment might actually turn out to be the most economical choice over the entire lifespan of the equipment. Moving right along to Section 2, legal risks and tax impacts. Your acquisition choice fundamentally alters your balance sheet, period. With a lease, 100% of your monthly payments are fully deductible as operating expenses. This can drastically reduce your immediate taxable income, which is huge. But in contrast, if you finance a purchase with a standard commercial loan, only the interest you pay and the depreciation of the asset are tax deductible. So, depending on your current cash flow and your overall tax strategy, that immediate deductibility of a lease, it can be a massive advantage. Now, defining what constitutes a true lease is way more than just legal semantics. It's actually a vital legal classification under Canadian insolvency frameworks. Under Quebec civil law, there are obviously a bunch of ways to acquire an asset, from standard leases to installment sales. But, and this is a big but, if a company goes bankrupt, the courts aren't just going to look at the title of your document. They look at the true intention behind it. If your contract is deemed a true lease, which means the payments are strictly for the usage of the equipment with absolutely no automatic path to ownership, well, that triggers some very specific legal protections. So, how does this actually play out in a real courtroom? Well, under the Companies Creditors Arrangement Act and the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act, there's usually a stay of proceedings that literally stops creditors from collecting. However, if you hold a true lease, you are actually exempt from that. You can demand immediate payment for the ongoing use of your equipment right in the middle of their restructuring. But if the court looks at your buyout options and your interest rates and decides, actually, scratch that, this is an instrument of financing disguised as a lease, then you're subject to that stay of proceedings. You just get lumped right in with all the other general creditors. So structuring your contracts correctly from day one is absolutely crucial for protecting your assets. All right, Section 3, navigating Quebec's language laws. Under the recent legislation of Bill 96, there are some really strict new mandates you need to know about for securing your assets. If you're registering a security interest or a title retention mechanism at the RPMMR, which is basically Quebec's equivalent of the PPSR or the UCC registry, the collateral description must be drafted exclusively in French. No exceptions, a non-compliant registration can just flat out be refused. And that means your security interest might not be legally protected when you actually need it most. And legal authorities like LaPointe Rosenstein are really sounding the alarm on how this impacts standard agreements. You see, standard equipment leases are typically considered adhesion contracts, meaning one party drafts all the terms and the other just signs on the dotted line. Well, under the new law, these absolutely must be presented to the client in French first. Only after they receive that French version can they legally consent to signing an English version. Failing to do this, it doesn't just risk voiding the entire agreement. It can trigger some massive financial penalties, ranging anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to $90,000. Yikes. Let's pivot to Section 4. Maximizing the C3I tax credit. Okay, this is exciting. You can actually secure a massive 15 to 25% refundable tax credit under the C3I program. For a lot of businesses out there acquiring new manufacturing tech, this puts an average of about $3,500 directly back into their pockets. And here is the absolute best part. It is a refundable tax credit, meaning even if your business doesn't owe a single dime in provincial taxes this year, the government is still going to send you a check. It's real, tangible cash back into your operations, and it's typically processed within about 3 months. The C3I eligibility rules are surprisingly straightforward and highly actionable. Basically, you need to be located in Quebec, and the equipment has to be new manufacturing tech that costs over 12,500 Canadian dollars. But take a look at that fourth point right there. Even lease-to-own agreements qualify for this refund. Oh, and it also covers related manufacturing software. The best part? You don't need to hire expensive consultants to apply. It's just a straightforward form you submit right along with your tax return, plus your proof of purchase and a brief equipment workflow description. Easy. Finally, Section 5, tapping into provincial funding. So if you happen to be in the agricultural sector, organizations like the FADU will literally guarantee loans up to a staggering $15 million for expanding your operations or buying new equipment. And it gets better. These loans come with built-in interest rate discounts, ranging from 0.30 to 0.60% off the standard rate, and that's for the entire term of the loan. Plus, they throw in special protections against future interest rate hikes. It's a fantastic setup. And even beyond agriculture, different Quebec government loans allow you to strategically defer your principal payment. For example, the local investment fund, which supports regional businesses, offers up to a 12-month capital repayment moratorium. If you leverage Invest Quebec's collective entrepreneurship program, you can defer your principal for up to 24 months. And if your equipment is directly driving technological advancement, the Productivity Innovation Initiative allows deferrals for an incredible 48 months. Just think about that. You can acquire state-of-the-art machinery today and have it generating real revenue for up to 4 years before you even have to start paying down the principal. That is a game changer. So as you've seen today, the gap between just a standard purchase and a truly optimized acquisition in Quebec is measured in profound tax savings, absolutely vital legal protections, and access to literally millions in subsidized capital. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this empowers you to make the most strategic choices possible for your business's growth. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Is your next equipment acquisition structured simply to add an asset? Or is it optimized to actually protect your business and maximize your capital?